So when it comes to addressing low self-esteem, the first thing is to recognize that not everyone actually shares the same definition of what self-esteem even means. For example, there's a group of psychology professionals who define self-esteem as your subjective sense of overall personal worth or values. They say that similar to self-respect, it describes your level of confidence in your abilities and attributes. Now, if you find this definition helpful, that's great, but we've actually found it more helpful to reflect on why exactly are you saying you want a high self-esteem. Another way to put it is, why exactly are you saying you have low self-esteem? What's making you say that? How do you know you have low self-esteem? Someone using the definition I just shared from those psychology professionals who doesn't have much life experience or the ability to practice or train in certain domains of life, then they wouldn't have high self-esteem based off that definition because they haven't had the chance or the time to build up abilities for them to be confident in. And as you might already know, building skills takes time. So that definition that they gave, that suggests that everyone will have low self-esteem at some point in time. We find, and again, we suggest that you do some reflection here, but we find that those who want or say they want high self-esteem, they tend to feel bad about themselves because of the current state of who they are. If they just look at the type of individual they are, they probably just dislike it. And they have idealized versions or unrealized goals, and then they take that gap between where they currently are and where they want to be, and they view that as a reason to feel bad or unhappy. But they're doing that unknowingly. So we submit to you that the subset of people who don't think in that manner, they have more internal peace, and as a byproduct, they actually improve themselves more quickly in pursuit of their goals. We also then put forward to you that that's what matters. Self-esteem is a word to describe the psychological phenomenon of someone being okay or happy about their current state of being. The reality is we aren't perfect, right? Talking about you and me and then everybody else. And the other reality is there are going to be times where we just don't like our current state of being. But that doesn't mean that we have to feel bad about being in an undesirable state. And again, this tends to happen unknowingly. We unknowingly view our current state as a reason to feel bad. But rather, we can acknowledge that we dislike our current state and then take action to change it however we please. So we're going to put to you that this way of thinking is more beneficial than wondering about or chasing high self-esteem. The psychological benefits that people want from what they call high self-esteem is really to be at peace with themselves, no matter what's going on, no matter what's happening. And then that can actually be achieved by adopting the mindset shifts that we just talked about. Now, a big call out that we want to share is, or a big call out that we want to share is, now you may feel physically bad if you engage in activities and certain activities. For example, if you engage in activities that spike your dopamine levels, and those are things like drugs or porn. And some people, they recognize that they dislike how they feel after partaking in those activities. But then they unknowingly view the unpleasant feelings or how bad they feel physically as a reason to feel bad about themselves. Now, because of how the body naturally works, it probably and perhaps it's unavoidable that you're going to feel physically unpleasant after partaking in a dopamine spiking activity. But it's important not to view that physical unpleasantness as a reason to feel bad. Yes, you might have done something you wish you didn't, but if you're trying to and ultimately care about internal peace, which is going to help you change in the future, you have to stop there. And you have to use the physical unpleasantness as data of the consequences you're naturally going to face whenever you fall short of a certain way you like to be. So if you partake in an activity that spikes your dopamine and you didn't want to do it, the consequences are you're going to feel bad afterwards. And so then eventually you're going to dislike the physical consequences so much that changing your behavior is going to be easier over time. One of the reasons why things like addiction and not being able to change behaviors that we want to change becomes difficult is we tack on, in addition to just feeling bad from the activity, we tack on, oh, I'm a terrible person. I should feel bad about doing this. We tack on those psychological and emotional pains, and we tack it on thinking that we should tack it on, thinking that it's going to help us change. But that actually makes it more difficult to clearly see that, oh, if I do this, I'm literally going to feel bad. And now when you see this clearly, it might naturally come where you just want to, it becomes easier to quit because you can now see that it's the activity that's causing you to feel bad. It's not your struggle with quitting, or it's not the fact that you're, any mental challenge. It's literally the activity.